Hi guys, this is Mrs. Lawrence and this is our lesson on our 2020 portrait. It is in the style of the Expressionist artist named Jose Manuel Merello. He is from Madrid, Spain, and he is a contemporary artist, which means he is still alive and he is still making art today. He expresses his emotions with colors and shapes. So we are going to do that in a portrait about our year 2020 as we wrap this up. And it will be a self-portrait, a portrait of yourself. And we are going to do warm colors on one side with some of the good things about 2020. And on the other side, we'll do cool colors. And I want you to reflect about some things that were difficult during 2020. White paper just looks like a sheet of copy paper. Your colored pencils, a pencil. You have two paintbrushes, one from your watercolor kit, which you'll need, and you have another paintbrush. You need your black marker, some water, and a paper. It goes into warm and cool colors. So cool colors, I always think of a pond. So blue, greens, purples. Warm colors, I always think of fire. So that's yellow, orange, red, and like a pinkish purple. First is that our eyes are right in the middle of our head. Our eyes line up with the top of our ears. And our pupils, the circles in the middle of our eyes, if we come down, that is the corners of our mouth. So we are going to apply some things like that to our picture. Also, our hair doesn't start at the top of our head, at the top of the oval. It starts below it. So we have some room for our forehead, some room for our hair, and then our hair actually goes a little bit above the oval too. It's not pressed right down on top of our head. And like the artist, he has so many shapes in here. So he has circles, which are our geometric shapes. I see a rhombus here with triangles in it. And he has organic shapes. Organic shapes are those shapes that are kind of, we make up names for. So geometric shapes are shapes that have names that you see in math, like triangle, circle, square, trapezoid, pentagon. There's so many more. Organic shapes are shapes that come from nature or that don't really have names. So like a bean shape, if you make a circle and you make it wavy all the way around, that's an organic shape. A leaf is an organic shape. And we're going to take up lots of space. So in my project example, my face is very big and that gives me lots of room for shapes. So we're going to start with our oval and use very light lines here. Now we all have different shaped chins. So maybe you have more of a square chin or a pointy chin. Then we're going to make a very light T. We're going to erase this after, the plus sign. And we can add our eyes on here. So two football shapes with circle in the middle. And we can add our eyelids, our pupils, our eyebrows, our eyelashes. So if you are making a face that does not look like it has makeup on, you should use small eyelashes. And the artist style is definitely more abstract. So we're not making it look very realistic. We're doing very simple features. Okay, then put a little line halfway between the line for your eyes and your chin, and that is where the bottom of your nose goes. So you can make a very simple nose just by doing like an upside down 7, and we can erase that little line. And when you do your mouth, you always start with the line in between your lips. and then you add your lips. So it's up to you if you want to be smiling or not. Then you can go ahead and add your lips. Okay, so our ears line up with our eyes. The top of our ears line up with our eyes. And another thing is our neck lines up with our temples. Our temples are the space next to our eyes. So we're going to come down, and that's where our neck goes. So put your fingers on the temples, come down, and that's where your neck goes. Okay, then you can add your shoulders and definitely a shirt. Okay, so now we just need hair. So our hair always starts a little bit below the oval and comes a little bit above the oval. And you can do your hair any way you want. It doesn't have to be how it looks today. We're just doing very simple. Okay, then we have some erasing we have to do. So now you can erase that plus sign. And then we have to erase part of that line for our head because your hair is probably covering it up now. Now we are going to trace this with our marker. So just go right on top of your pencil line. I'm sure you've heard about if you're feeling blue, that means you're feeling sad. Dark colors make us feel a certain way. Yellow is such a happy color. So colors are very powerful. Now we have our warm colors and our cool colors. And I'm going to pick this side to be my warm side and this side to be my cool side. So I'm going to start to add some shapes all over just like the artist. So I'm going to do maybe a triangle, circle, square. Those are geometric. And now let me do some organic shapes. So like a bean shape, maybe a splat shape, a leaf shape, and let's switch colors. Merello uses a lot of leaf shapes, and he also uses a lot of circles. So now I'm going to go to my cool side. And I have my blue, greens, and purples. And I am going to start to add some geometric shapes like circles and squares. Maybe I'll put some triangles in the square and add some organic shapes like that bean shape, the splat shape. This is a good spot to put a random shape like that. Okay, so now we have a picture that is full of shapes, and we're going to add some text now. So on one side, we are going to add, on our warm side, some positive ideas about 2020. So for me, I want you guys to think of your own, but for me, this was a very creative year. Okay, I had time with family this year. I had a lot of growth this year. Sometimes growth is painful, isn't it? Everyone has an easy time thinking of some hard parts about 2020. The hardest part for me was these masks. I do not like wearing a mask, but I do. Okay, so masks. Being indoors for me was tough. Maybe for some of you, family can go on both sides because we enjoy it, but we know it's a good thing, but maybe it was hard too. We're using watercolor, again, warm colors this side, cool colors this side. So we always want to pat some water on first. And this can be very loose, like his painting style. He paints inside of the shapes, he makes little lines, he makes dots, he blends colors together. So you can definitely experiment. This is a good time to go outside the lines and see what happens. Now, whenever you are painting with watercolor, you never want to scrub at your paper, and that could cause like a rip in your paper. And when we put two wet spots near each other, something happens called bleeding, which can be very pretty, but you have to expect that to happen where the colors run into each other. So you guys can use black or brown on either side. I'm going to show you guys how to make some texture. So a good way to make texture, you could do little dots like this, where you go bop, bop, bop. Okay. Another way to make texture is you can do lines. And mixing some colors together in the lines. So go ahead and play with your texture. You can also use the top of your watercolor palette to make some colors. So to make a dark red, you can do some red and black mixed together. I'm going to do that here with the black too. So we can see how the orange and black blend in with each other. All right, so now we're going to do cool colors. So all of our blues. So you can fill in your shapes. You can add some more texture. Remember to pat water on your colors every time you use them. So think about what some of those textures were. And again, anytime you want the colors to mix together, you're going to add more water. Really thoughtful reflections about 2020 because it is almost over. And I know some of you are happy about that. I want to know why. Maybe there's some great things that happened. I want to know what those were. Okay, so this is what your project will look like. This is under color, a new unit in December under Jose Manuel Merello. Good job.